Zinisa. I am a lecturer in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communications at the University of Eswatini. I hold a Master of Social Science in Cultural and Media Studies degree. And my research interest in terms of the theme for the career fair have to do with the influence of media on society. I am passionate about the development of young people in Eswatini, and I will tell you a bit about my career journey now. So I've had a very unconventional career journey. My very first job was after high school. I went for auditions, and I was chosen to be one of the presenters of a pilot program that was called Expressions. It aired on Eswatini TV, and it was a youth talk show type television. So this is the journey this is the thing that introduced me to the media industry. From there, so it was supposed to last for 6 months. After that, what did I do? I went and I taught, I didn't teach. I went to work for the Times as a proofreader. So there was a call for interviews, and I went and I got the job. I was employed by the Times of Eswatini to be a proofreader. And this is a job that I would do for the next 5 years. But so 2 months after I had started my job, I also started school at UNESWA. So I had been accepted to study towards a Bachelor of Arts in Humanities, part-time though. So I was in school full-time. I was at work full-time, and I was in school part-time. People were telling me that's not possible. You can never do that. It was hard, but I discovered that it wasn't so much as impossible, because I would go to school in the morning and then be there all day, and then after work I'd go into the evening shift at 6 p.m. So it worked quite a while. So I did that for 5 years, and eventually after I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Humanities, and I went into teaching, because when you have a degree in humanities, you go out and you teach. So I started at an urban school in Baban, and I taught there for 3 months. And then the following year, because this was like September to the end of the year, the following year I went to a rural school, and I was there for about 10, 11 months. I was traumatized by the poverty and just the difference of how things look and feel, because I grew up in Babana, so I had never seen that level of poverty in my life before. And so this sort of introduced me to my passion with young people. I was thinking that children in the rural areas don't have the same resources, access to resources and access to people that children in towns take for granted. So I did that for a bit, and then I moved to work for the Ministry of ICT. I worked for the Ministry of ICT. I got there, I became the Ministerial Communications Officer. This was a brand new post, so nobody had been there before. It was just a brand new post, and the ministry was still new. It was a challenge for me, because I didn't know what the job was, and the expectation was that I would make it work. So, but I was lucky that there were very good people there, and they sort of guided me through. And I did that. I was a Ministerial Communications Officer for a while, until I was promoted to Senior Communications Informations Officer before I left for UNESCO. In my career journey, there have been quite a number of challenges with not knowing the job, not knowing how things were always to be done. But generally, the biggest challenge that I encountered was lack of mentorship. I didn't know that you could plan a career. This is why I say I've had a very unconventional professional journey, because I've always gone where the jobs were. I didn't know that you could sit down and plan for a career, plan your career, decide when you want to go to school, decide what you can study. I went to humanities because that's what I was accepted for. So that lack of mentorship was a struggle for me. It was a problem. And I was lucky though, because but God's grace, He's always provided people who were there to guide. So for example, at the Ministry of ICT, when I got there, The undersecretary was still Babek Begigam. He's at education now. And I used to work closely with him, and I'd encounter problems. I'd go to his office and say, I have a problem here in doing the job. And he'd say, so what's the solution? So that taught me, Gutsi, I just can't come up to him and say, I have a problem. I need to be solution driven. I need to think about solutions when I encounter problems. And then when I started working with my former director, Mr. Pesheya Dube, he taught me the value of education because he encouraged me actively to go and pursue my postgraduate degree, and he was actively involved. And so having these kinds of guidances showed me that with mentorship, there's huge potential for anybody. And so that taught me that so these two men, as well as the late Sigelela Dlamini, who was the PS at the time, they taught me that it's important to always look at the people around you, identify their potential, and then work to help them meet their potential, because it's not enough just to say I see potential in you, but help people rise. So for example, I've always now, when I encounter problems, even if it's not work related, I'm able to say, okay, there's a problem, how can I solve it? So those kinds of things are necessary. And in as much as I had challenges, I also had triumphs, because I was lucky enough to have always been interested in what I was doing. So anywhere I went, I said earlier that I didn't always know how to do the job, but I was asking questions. And I was curious, and that helped me to learn quickly, learn on the job. And it made people eager to work with me, because you know. So those are some of the times. At the times when I was there, some year long ago, I was awarded best proofreader. That was encouraging, because it's like this identification of your ability to do the job that you got here not knowing how to do. But investing in learning means you are able to get better. So those were my challenges and my triumphs. So that leads me to discuss Enzawaye community service. Because I've said that I struggled with mentorship. So I work now with an organization that's called IRA Africa, and our motto is, it's your time. What IRA Africa is striving to do is to provide mentorship, because we recognize, if I struggled with mentorship, and I was lucky that I was able to find people along the way to sort of guide me and mold me, how many more Swazi children are sitting or are in schools and they have no idea what they want to do with their lives, or are victims of circumstances and they have no idea that they can talk to somebody who can then guide them out of those circumstances. So what we do as IRA Africa, we're trying to sort of set up a kind of mentorship program where we find Maswati who are doing big things in their various sectors. It doesn't even have to be Swati who's doing like amazing things overseas. We're not there yet. We're simply saying Gune Maswati who are in big positions, even small positions, but doing amazing things. And we're saying, we sit down and we talk to them, and we record these conversations and we post them on YouTube, on Facebook. It's what we call mass mentorship at the point, because we're still starting out. And we're saying to Swazi young people, there are others like you out there taking advantage of maybe a tool that you might not have paid attention to. For example, we have an interview with somebody who started a business on Time Eswatini. So those things, we're showing people that it's possible to start businesses. It's possible to go to school and learn and come back and do something with your education. We're speaking to people who have braved a number of certain family circumstances and come out to say, I had this, but now I'm doing better because I did ABC. So we're bringing these mentors out to Swazi young people. We believe, Gutsi, Maswati are capable. They can contribute to running this country. They can even contribute to running Africa. This is why we say it's our time, because the future is ours as young people, but we need to believe that, and then we need to be able to step up. So I'm involved in that kind of mentorship program. Eventually, we hope to grow enough so that we are able to go into schools to offer physical pairings of mentors, to have one mentor looking out for a number of people. But now, because there are things like social media. We're taking advantage of those tools and saying, young people are on Facebook, but instead of just enjoying Facebook, we might as well get some kind of encouragement out of that. So yeah, so that's what I do for community development. And then in terms of opportunities in my field, so I was asked to speak about opportunities in media. So I have said that I'm a lecturer in journalism and mass communication. That's basically just media at large. And journalism will never go out of fashion. Like, things are changing, we're doing, the way we produce news is different, but journalism itself as the field will never go out of fashion. In Zabaya, COVID, even there is a special segment of journalism that we haven't been paying attention to, because journalism is journalism and then there's specializations. So there's something called science journalism. So you find that people who are well equipped in science, who know the scientific aspects, can then share that by breaking it down and then sharing it as news, as information, as all that. In COVID, we're talking about conspiracy theories, we're talking about all kinds of information that's going around. It's precisely because sometimes even the journalists who are reporting the stories, they don't have a full understanding of what the issue is. So journalism itself is not going anywhere. It's only getting more special more specialized as we go. So I'd urge young people to look into that. You can find niches of a kind of journalism you want to participate in. And the nice thing now is that you don't need to think which media house will hire me. You can simply start your own podcast, your own YouTube channel, and share credible news, as long as you know, because you're a trained journalist, you know about ethics. If you stick to that, then you develop your own following, and you know, I am a credible source. So your audience has somewhere to go for credible information, because journalism is not going anywhere but is under threat, because everyone now is sharing information that's not always verified. So I'd say journalism isn't going anywhere, it's simply becoming more specialized. Young people must look into that. Also, we need to embrace technology. We are in the ICT Career Fair, and we're talking about ICTs in general. I've already spoken about how producing news is different now. You don't necessarily have to sometimes go into the field to find a story. You can sit and go online and find a story of something that's happening in the US, and So we need to embrace technology for our field as media practitioners and specialists, even in terms of the quality that we produce, because quality now is important. The audience has so much accessible to them. They're no longer held to channel 9. They can simply switch off that and watch what they want. They're interested in something that's interesting, that's fresh, and that's good quality content. So we need to remember that as practitioners in the media field, and we need to take advantage of the phones that we have. You don't need expensive cameras now. If you have a good phone that has a good quality camera, you can make your own movie if you want. So take advantage of all these things. Also leverage social media. Social media is excellent, but as Pume social media, we go there for gossip, for umswenko, for if you have a product, because media is everything. I could be selling a film or a documentary or a service in graphic design or whatever. Use social media for that. Connect with people and sell your skills and your services. So think differently about the things that are there. I mean, that's basically what the digital age is saying. It's saying not deleting what corner that now, but we're using them for other things. So I'd encourage young people to look into that as well. Also remember that there are things like streaming services. All these things we are getting from out of the continent. Where is the African youth in developing streaming services for Africa, in developing content for Africa, developing applications for Africa? So these are things that we need to look into and sort of take an active interest and learn. Another point of mine that I heard was learn simply. The internet is so vast and it has so much information that's free. You don't need to go to school. Is good. School is very, very good. But nasu phumile esikoleni ungacabanga ukuthi uqedile. Get that small 1-month certificate that will teach you about digital marketing. Get that certificate that will teach you how to package your content for a different audience. These are free courses that are widely available online. So take advantage of those opportunities as well. And I wanted to say that there's so many opportunities, some of which I've spoken about, but these opportunities don't mean much if it's not all of us that can participate. I taught at a rural school, and the level of exposure there is heartbreaking because you find banfana generally abalingani. And so I'd like to urge companies and all of us as citizens, because while government is busy with policy and legislation, the rest of us must be making sure the Swazi young person has access to skills. So nangabe kunesenta lefundzisa computer, ayichubeke over and above that and teach people how to, more than lokukhafata, other things that you can do with a computer. So that ball is in our court. Singagcini nje ukuthi utawubona uhulumende because uhulumende busy, you know. They can only help us with legislations. So for all of us, and the economy now is moving into the internet. It's going to be what we call the digital economy. So for all of us to be able to participate and pull each other up, we need to make sure that all of us have skills. So who doesn't have access to a smartphone that they can press for fun, see what you can do. That will encourage them to have an interest and to eventually learn and do more with the gadget. So finally, in terms of, I was asked to talk about, to share encouraging words. Gunnar verse that says, it's in Zechariah 4 verse 10, it says, do not despise the small beginnings, and then it continues. But I like the part about small beginnings. As young people today, it's in a problem, sijage imali. And yet, that is not how the nature of life is. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, be excellent first at that, master that, and develop a spirit of excellence, nje, because that will help you so that you've already developed that spirit of excellence. Now, be excellent. And there you are growing into your destiny. So I'd like to say to young people, be excellent where you are. Doesn't matter. It might seem irrelevant to what you want to do eventually. You might have an idea, I want to be this. But kwanyalo, maybe you're in a restaurant and you're being a waiter because be excellent at that. People will find you kona lapho, and they are more likely to help you if you're excellent at what you're doing. Not necessarily because you need to derive benefit ngoba wena une vision. Be excellent first in what you're doing, no matter how irrelevant it seems. And then also be hungry to learn and learn from everybody. Mangsebenda at ICT, there were people junior than me, but those people were able to teach me things because they were also doing things in their own offices that I need to know for myself. So don't be too proud to learn from people that you think are less than you in whatever way. See, as young people, office, I don't need to know photocopy. But what happens if that photocopying office is closed and it's a photocopy? So learn those skills, you will need them in future. Learn from everybody. Learn from people's experience. Not everything needs to happen to you. You can learn from other people's experience and avoid the mistakes that they've made. Be teachable also, because it's difficult to learn if you're not teachable. And I've said, use the internet to develop yourself. Find free courses, YouTube is amazing in terms of teaching you how to do things. You can be at work and you're stuck with something, go onto YouTube, find out how to do this thing. And I've also mentioned about free courses. So pull up Instagram for a day and just tell yourself, today I'm looking for free courses online, because you already have the data. So use the data for something productive. Use the resources available to you. Resources is not always about money, it's about the people around you. Sometimes you might not be aware, could see the people that are around you could be a resource. So use those people, ask questions, ask for help, volunteer to help. All that. That is the last word that I'd like to share.
Okay, good morning. Vitalam, I come from different maybe tindzawo letiningi lapho khona I work with a lot of young people, Young Climber, where we are basically motivating young people through a TV program and also a radio program, the Bakonaga VOC FM. But I'm also the head of department of the computer science department, Swatini Medical Christian University. I'm the head of department there, so we do have computer science being offered in the Swatini Medical Christian University, Dagangwane. Maybe today I'd like to come from a point of a lecturer or maybe an academician, academics, speaking to especially young people who are interested in going into ICT or IT, or maybe others who are afraid, maybe labane fear of going into the sciences. Maybe first of all, a lot of people will feel, there are hiccups, there are challenges, failure and the like, but maybe I can just encourage young people, especially ladies, not because not because guys shouldn't go into the field, but because we already see a lot of young men being interested in medicine, being interested in engineering, being interested in the sciences, and a lot of ladies maybe being interested in the social sciences and the other fields. The world that we are going into is filled with IT. Even an accountant will probably collaborate in the next few years with a computer scientist so that they develop a program or maybe they develop a software that will enable ama-novice lanjengathi lakede i-accounting ngokuthi akhone kutendela i-accounting. That means that the other fields, which is maybe the accounting field or the other fields, atati khanza sekede bantu, because more and more computer scientists are continuously working towards making ordinary people's lives easier. So that means even if ungaba nanyalo bodokotela bakhona, but already through the involvement of artificial intelligence and about deep learning, they are developing a machine. The computer now will be able to diagnose you. Symptoms, it will give you options. That's it. Actually, there are some systems which are there to enable you to interact with the doctor virtually. So, appointment na dokotela, ungasaya esibhedlela, uhlale ekhaya nisebente from wherever you are. And this actually means that in all the fields, we are constantly needing bantu be IT. And the IT itself is evolving and iyakula. Make an example. We've got new fields, like financial technology, like fintech. We've got new fields like blockchain. These are fields that will enable SRA will want to go to ukhiphe ukhulume ngemthelo wakho uthela malini, but SRA maybe will require you to bring in your banking information, and you will only bring that which you want. But with the involvement of blockchain, they will be able from the office maungena ubanike ID yakho kungene Standard Bank, FNB, Swazi Bank, wherever you've your funds kuvele in one place, bakhona kucalculate like zehlatshwa uyasitotsha umthelo wakho shouldn't be le mali lena ufuna underpay umthelo wakho kufanele kube into lenje. Those are fields that are already being engaged. The blockchain baze basebende to the extent where voting, elections are concerned. We've got Swazis, labase Taiwan, we've got Swazis in all other countries. Masisi figures katisek voter through blockchain. We can be able to ensure ukuthi liswati lelise Germany nalo liyakhona kuvota phansi enkundla yalo ukuthi mine ngwase Shiselweni 2 and mine lengimvotela ko ngunango though ngingekho kangwane, but I have a say. So that will be enabled by the field yabo blockchain. So in a nutshell, le live lesiyakilo liphethe I technology learning. Countries are especially the superpowers, are competing to be the first to introduce 5G, which is a technology lengetulu kwale nayo namhlanje. So that means ukuthi there is a hunger yebantu labato yati le IT. But the challenge that we have in the country, especially young people, is that abantu labasha bangena lapha enyuvesi betele kithi baye kulamanye amakolleji lakhona kangwane bende ICT or bende computer science, and then mabaphuma babe frustrated because bathola ukuthi the world out there is not receiving them, simply because vele sesinabo labaningi labakwati ku network, sesinabo labaningi labakwati kwenda lokufunzile. You need to go deeper. You need to actually, as a computer scientist, you should be somebody who is able to stay the whole night ubuke computer, hayi ubuke ma video, hayi ubuke labo music, ustrugglisha ne problem, let's say programmer. You should be able to look at your computer for hours and hours doing some work, just troubled by inkinga lencane. The people who have been able to do that, I can count countless people. I've got friends, Maswat, basebenda Google, doing software there. And my friend tells me, about 1 million people apply on a yearly basis. Every year, kune bantu labanganga million laba apply. What are the chances ukuthi ungaba liswati ukhone kungena? Mancane kakhulu. But lo muntu lokhonile kungena, that guy bekahlala ngishadadisha udadisha ngeliphanado. Because uphathwa inhloko abese unatha amaphanado ehlisa inhloko angayikolala aqhubeke adadishe. So that is the kind of determination that you need in order to break through in this field. We've got Bomaboya, we've got Bopibo, who have been hired by Amazon in South Africa. We've got Bongobese, who are hired by Amazon America. I'm talking about a Maswat. It means, as Swazis, we do have what it takes. But the challenge is that most of us do not give the time. Most of us are computer, but concentrate on that one problem. A lot of us will go in front of the computer, within 2 seconds, click Facebook, 2 seconds, Instagram, oh, by the way, what was I doing? That is the thing, even though bangaba nayo ma laptops, you think umuntu uvula laptop uqhanswela umsebenzi hayi uyabluza uhlathi lwaphalati lekubo Facebook, busy wasting time. So if you want to make it in this field as a young person, as a lady, as a girl, you should tell yourself that you want to be determined. Ma ungena mbi computer, make it a law or make it a rule for yourself ukuthi angivuli iFacebook. iFacebook ngi-access ecingweni lami, but mangena ngidadisha, I don't touch my phone, and ku computer yami I don't open any social media. Uti discipline uhlala uti change ukuthi nyalo for the next 3 hours I'm sitting here struggling with this issue ngifuna kuyisolve, and that is how they are able to make it. People tindo letiningi utifunzisile when he came into the country waqala ka SPTC njani, and then he started learning certain things letimende kokuthi makaya ka Amazon bafike bamqashe bathi hey, you are the guy we are looking for. Now a lot of companies out there are looking for you, but you have to develop the skill, set discipline, set concentrator, and by so doing utawukhanza impilo yakho kancane so ufunza tintfo letinye naletinye. And the last thing lengingafisa ngisho, computer science baye bathi kune full stack development. Mabakhuluma full stack development basho ukuthi you basically know a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Ngoba kuthi nje ukuthi ngine programming, mina ngiprogramma whatever language lo isebenzisa, ukhanza ukuthi you awubi enough la sikudinga khona masifuna ukuthi si develop software le fully fledged. Ukhanza ukuthi we need a little bit of ma databases, sidinga ukuthi ukhona kuba na some level of data mining, sidinga kuba na some level of SQL and what not. So I'm trying to say, because you need to learn a lot of things, it means you really do not have time to play, to jola, to do whatever, because you need to learn a lot of things. If you do that, I always tell my students, magafika first year, koguthi, I'm a computer scientist, lengiwabonile mine, especially le enyuvesi lesikiyo bantu labete boma relationships, bantu labete social life, bantu labete, those are the people who make it, because you have to learn a lot of things. Lalabanye labafunza nje tinjwana bobani bani psychology na bobani bani kwanza ukuthi bona they have time to play, but wena because bona mabadlala they are still learning ukuthi vele industrial psychology yenda kanjani, mabahamba bayovakasha they are still adding to their learning. But wena you cannot add learning lengaphandle ukuthi ibhola ijikwa kanjani in wena you need to focus on your work, focus on your computer. By so doing, you'll be able to make us proud of you. Ngalenye langa ngiyawuhlala in a forum like this ngikhothela igama lakho ngithi kunazandile zibanibani naye Liswati usebenta ka Facebook noma usebenta ka Microsoft uma utawugcina lokhu lengikutshela kona. We do hope that this will help you, and we do hope that you will make it in life. Young climbers, ICT, we want to see you at the top, so we shall meet at the top. Thank you.
Singivusele bekunene igama lami ngithula Sizwe ngakadlamini Sibongo. Ngikufunza ngiqale kufunza St Francis primary and high school, ngagcine sengise University of Eswatini lapho khona ngafunza agricultural economics and management. Ngisina ngicetha ke University yase Eswatini ngahamba ngayofunza eScotland, University of Fort Hare nase Rhodes University, where I also did my PhD in economics. Yeah, so I started work in South Africa, Pretoria, where I worked at the Agricultural Research Council as an agricultural economist. Whilst working at the ARC, I have been recognized, or maybe gotten a lot of recognitions, including being part of the African Program on Rethinking Development Economics. Also, I got a fellowship, the South African Agricultural Economics Professional Fellowship, which saw me going to, amongst many other places, Cornell University. I was also I also got the Cochrane Fellowship in 2013, which was between the United States Department of Agriculture and the University, Michigan State University. In 2015, I also received a Young Researcher of the Year award at the Agricultural Research Council. In 2019, I was very fortunate to have been awarded the prestigious Science Diplomacy Prize by the World Academy of Sciences. And again, in April 2020, at the height of COVID-19, we got an award by the World Bank, which I'll talk about briefly. In the past, I've worked as a tutor coordinator and lecturer, but I've also worked as an agricultural economist, as I've already said, at the ARC. I was also executive director of Eswatini Economic Policy Analysis and Research Center. I'm currently an adjunct professor of the University of Arkansas in the United States. I've also worked at Farmers Bank as a CEO. I think what I'm very much passionate about, as you can see through my work, is science and technology, especially science and technology policy analysis. And it is for this that the World Bank has actually recognized an innovation that we came up with, myself and a friend. The innovation, we call it Easters Farm. Easters Farm, it just means digital sustainable farming. Easters Farm is an agri-fintech that deals with that basically seeks to help the process of commercializing smallholder farmers, help make it very easy. It is a company that collects and supplies advanced agricultural statistical data to smallholder farmers for the purposes of, one, increasing agricultural productivity, two, increasing smallholder market access to markets, or smallholder market access. And then the third one is to increase access to markets, the third one is to increase access to finance for smallholder farmers. And then the fourth one is ultimately then to try and beef up or improve the efficiency of the agricultural value chain. We have already established a company here in Eswatini. We are already starting with implementing the startup. Our focus is smallholder farmers. We aim to commercialize about 100,000 smallholder farmers in Eswatini, but Issa's Farm is also big in the sense that we are also available in other countries. So it's a startup that is Pan-African. We are two as co-founders, but in terms of our visibility, currently we are available in 5 countries. We are looking at being at covering the entire sub-Saharan Africa in terms of just deploying the technology. Everywhere we go, we look for partners. I am the guy here in Eswatini who is in charge of everything, all matters Issa's Farm. So as you may have already picked it up, my background has always been agriculture and agriculture economics with policy and policy related things. So Issa's Farm seeks to then provide more information to help smallholder farmers from an agribusiness point of view, to help smallholder farmers, one, digitize their records. I think one of the biggest things that we've discovered during COVID-19 is that it is very, very difficult to get, to do business online, especially for smallholder farmers. So we use proprietary technology to collect the data from smallholder farmers. Currently, we are only available on Swazi Mobile, but we are also in talks with Swatini MTN. So the proprietary tech uses USSD codes, and farmers can register on the Issa's Farm platform. And then on a daily basis, we handhold them on what needs to be done on the farm. And we then use their data with their permission to link them with markets, financial providers, as well as to link them with all the actors in the agricultural sort of value chain. So you can think of Issa's Farm as the Uber of agriculture, with more, sort of benefits in terms of it's not only just linking you with markets and input providers, but it's also ensuring that as you are going about with your agricultural activity, you actually know what you are doing. So for us, the idea is to, as we've already noted, to commercialize smallholder farmer and ensure that the smallholder farmer actually participates and participates commercially in the economy. So as to beef up agricultural gross domestic product, especially as well as to then make sure that smallholder farmers are actually participating in the formal economy. This is something that's very close to my heart, having grown up in a rural area as well. Issa's Farm has probably been with me for as long as I can remember. And when we came together with my friend Watson, with his background in finance, we're able to come up with a product that we believe will actually change the farming landscape in Eswatini, in Southern Africa, and in Africa, and probably even in the world for forever. One of the key things that we're trying to do at Issa's Farm, obviously, is to show especially young people that they can actually learn from old people, especially what needs to be done on the farm and how it should be done, and how they learn through the Issa's Farm technologies. That because most of the time you find out that makaya are usually older people, and in most cases some of them are not tech savvy, but younger people are tech savvy, and on the other hand they don't want to be part of agricultural farming. But through Issa's Farm, we're able to fuse the two so that the older person who is actively involved on the farm can then tell the youngster that, look, this is what I did on the farm this day or today, and this is what I need to report back to Issa's Farm so that I can be discovered by markets, so that I can participate in the market, be able to tell markets that my produce is ready, be able to get orders and so on and so forth. ISAS Farm doesn't stop there. ISAS Farm also, you can use ISAS Farm to enforce contracts, which has been a big problem, proverbial problem in agriculture, where you have issues of fungibility, but also farmers refuse, or in most cases, farmers seldom adhere to contracts. ISAS Farm makes it possible for us to track on a daily basis where the produce is, so that a farmer cannot then come and say, you know what, I ended up selling the produce because customer B was coming with a higher price. So ISAS Farm is also able then, in this sense, to ensure contract enforcement. I think one of the other powerful attributes of ISAS Farm is what we call a novel ongoing risk management. So, as you know, it's very difficult to provide finance or financial services to smallholder farmers because they are unknown. ISAS Farm, first and foremost, identifies the farmer. So what we do is what we call farmer discovery in economics. So ISAS Farm makes that possible. Now, this is a problem not just in Eswatini, South Africa, or Mozambique. This is a problem in Africa. Farmers are not discovered. ISAS Farm makes it possible for value chain, agricultural value chain players to discover farmers and know what they are producing. And then through the ISAS Farm proprietary technology, we are able to monitor what's happening on the farm on a daily basis, thereby doing what in finance is called ongoing risk management. And it is the first of its kind. And for that particular innovation, the World Bank Group actually awarded us a prize, a top innovator award, as well as an honorable mention in coming up with the most locally sustainable business model. And we look forward to changing agriculture forever. We also believe that young people have an opportunity here. There's so many powerful innovations that are going to be coming up, or opportunities in terms of innovating that we're seeing as we are going about implementing ISAS Farm. For example, we are finding out that there's going to be a huge demand for drones drivers, but there's going to be a huge demand for people who are wanting to verify data on the ground and be ground truthers. And these are solid businesses that are going to grow as we go into the future. And we believe that young people can be part of this interesting development, because we at ISAS Farm are part of the Internet of Things ecosystems, and our platform actually provides the infrastructure to enable countries like our country, but also countries in sub-Saharan Africa, to begin to participate in the Internet of, to begin to deploy Internet of Things technology, and to begin to use science, to harness science to solve everyday problem in the form of food security, but also food nutrition, and so on and so forth. So we do believe that as young people, there are so many opportunities. What can you learn from me? You can learn from me so many things, and one of the key things is that for you to be an innovator, you really need to know the space you are going into. You can't all of a sudden wake up and be an innovator in a field that you have no clue about. We have innovated in agriculture. I was not quite knowledgeable in finance, but I came together with someone who was very, very knowledgeable in finance. And when you bring the two of us together, we came up with an award that we came up with an innovation that is really, at the time of COVID, shown that it is not all, doom and gloom in smallholder agriculture. We can commercialize smallholder farmers. And the reason we're able to do that is because we understood the problems that smallholder farmers are facing. We are commercializing our lives. This is what we, together with my partner, it's what we grew up. This is a situation that we grew up under. We grew up in smallholder localities ourselves. We saw food rotting at Inyangweni and so on and so forth. So we are commercializing a way of life that we saw growing up, except that we have brought in tech to be able to then tinker, to tinker with different technologies to come up with one holistic solution that's going to definitely change the lives of smallholder farmers and rural families for a very long time to come. And we believe that young people, anyone, as long as you know the space that you're going to, the opportunities for you are diverse to do big things.
My name is Linda Zwane. I'm head of data management at Standard Bank Eswatini. It's been an interesting road to get there. I was always a fan of mathematics as a young person, and I studied mathematics and applied mathematics, worked at Eswatini, and then got a brilliant opportunity to do a master's in engineering. As regards my career journey so far, I wasn't always sure I wanted to be in banking. But I took an opportunity in banking because I identified a space within the bank that I wanted to be in. So I started in credit, I moved to the treasury function, which is where my interest always lay. And at the time when I did my master's degree, I then got involved and learned about data and the fascinating world of artificial intelligence. When I came back from my master's, I was fortunate enough that Standard Bank Eswatini recognized the skills that I had and what was possible with them. And that's how I've gotten to my role at the moment. So there's a lot of opportunities. Data and AI is possibly the most fastest growing industry across the world. The brilliant thing about data and AI is that you get to work in all sorts of industries. There are applications for data science and artificial intelligence in medicine, in finance, in social services. So there are a million ways in which to grow, a million ways that you can marry data science and artificial intelligence with your personal interest. And I think that's important. If we speak to what I would like young people to know about the industry is that on top of there being so many growth opportunities, you can do it in an area that is of interest to you. There are data science opportunities in music, even in art and fashion. We've seen digital fashion shows in recent times. We see a million applications, like I keep saying, and it's so important, especially in the artificial intelligence spectrum, that we as Africans, as a Maswati, really are lending our voice to the movement. If the world is going to change, let us be part of the change as well. So just to sign off and as words of encouragement, I hope that you know that it's possible. I hope that you know that there are Emaswati who first touched a computer in university and who are leading data science and are part of a huge worldwide transformation. They are all over the world, not just in the country, not just on the continent. They are doing their thing and really making their mark. So do not be afraid of what you might think is a small beginning. Anyone can learn. There's so many data scientists who learned data science after they did their first degree. So those are my words of encouragement. Really, whatever your level of interest is, do try to apply data science. Learn how data science can be involved in that area of interest, because that is the future, and we need you to be a part of it. And so at this time, we find ourselves in an unprecedented time in history. We're not able to move. Movements were restricted. And that presents a massive opportunity for data science and data science practitioners. If we understand what data science does, which is it uncovers efficiencies, uncovers new ways to do things, and we're in this digital world now where we had to find ways to learn digitally, we had to find ways to access treatment digitally, we had to find ways to do many things that were commonplace to us, even our shopping. And that kind of thing is where data science really shines if you have those skills. The world is looking for data scientists to bring services closer. That's what data science can do, to make services more efficient. You know, how much can we communicate with our doctors without actually being there? Data science can solve for that. And we're going to see over the next few months many more challenges that data science can solve. And so really that brings me to our encouragement is that we need you. We need all of our young people who have the talents in mathematics, in any kind of technology, to really work on nurturing them, work on accessing all the opportunities that are available for growing your skills, because as the world is evolving in this direction, and there's no way to avoid it, if the world is evolving in this direction, then it needs us to make sure that we are represented, that we are putting the Eswatini voice on the map in designing solutions that work for us. So be encouraged that no matter what your beginnings have been, there are people who started having access to computers in their university careers and are flourishing internationally. On every continent you'll find Maswati in technology, in data, in artificial intelligence, doing really groundbreaking and amazing things. So it doesn't matter where you're from, it's possible, and the world is our oyster.
My name is Sibusile Sikwane, a young dynamic woman within marketing and communications in the financial sector. I'm currently employed by Standard Bank Eswatini as the marketing and communications manager. My career journey comes way back in 2013, where I started off my journey as a broadcast journalist at Eswatini Broadcasting Information Services, where I was working there as a news anchor for both channels. Fast forward to 2016, I joined the dynamic financial banking sector and have grown in that sector from a communications specialist to a communications and CSI specialist, right through to where I am today, communications and marketing manager. My journey has been quite a very special one, if I were to say. I think having gone through several interviews whilst I was still with EBIS, and having quite a lot of no's in terms of joining due to lack of experience within the communications industry, to getting an opportunity to working for two dynamic brands. And I'll speak to working for Standard Bank Eswatini as their marketing communications manager, really, and the massive opportunities that has opened for me. In terms of opportunities that exist within the marketing and communications field, is a very dynamic opportunity that exists now, particularly with COVID-19, and the need to continue driving a narrative and messaging to people, unpacking our product service offering beyond traditional media, right through to digital marketing, which is quite the trend these days. I think we will all agree to say COVID-19 has taught us new ways of working and also new ways of interacting not only with our families, but also interacting with our broader clientele and our significant stakeholders. I think for me, really, that says to me, any graduate or any young woman or young man that is watching this today and is looking at going into the marketing comms field, my advice would be digital marketing is the way to go. We need to start communicating with Emaswati where they are. We all know that we're always on our phones and also just always on our computers and on social media. And what better way to interact with Emaswati than where they are? I think that industry is changing dynamically, and I think very exciting to be a part of this journey and really finding new ways of working irrespective of the challenges and some of the impacts that have come with COVID-19. Just as a last word or words of encouragement to women, I'm a pro activist, I like to say, and very excited to be part of a brand also that is very firm in terms of driving women empowerment and encouraging young women to occupy leadership roles across the business. I think for me, the one encouraging word to a young woman and a young girl would be to say, the sky is not even the limit. Dream big, you have it in you, you have what it takes. Communications and marketing is a dynamic field, and also with all these new technologies that are coming through, there's a lot more work we can do as a collective, and more than anything, I think together as women we can thrive even better than where we are.